one thing that I would probably, just a piece of advice to the audience, is really just focus in on mastery. It's very easy to want to start so many ancillary services and jump markets and do e-commerce drop shipping and maybe affiliate marketing, all this stuff. There's just so much stuff out there. And what I've come to realize is nobody wants to pay for, mediocrity.
Welcome to the Power Path Podcast, your new favorite podcast for short-term rentals, boutique hotels, and all things real estate. Enjoy the show in 3, 2, 1.
All right, welcome to the Power Path Podcast, episode number 1. I'm your host, 𝗘𝗀𝘶, with my lovely co-host, Mr. Jeremy Wirtz. What's up, Jeremy?
What's happening, man? Fresh back from Hawaii, ready to go?
Yeah. Did you do anything there or what?
Yeah, I was busy. We did a whole lot of things. We were on Kauai. We took a boat tour of the Nepali coast, did a backcountry tubing, biking, snorkeling. It was good.
How long were you there? I don't remember.
8 days.
Golly.
Yeah. It was not well. It was a day of travel. It was 7 on the island and a day of travel on each side.
Okay. Sweet. All right. Well, today we have 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 for episode number 1, and we're going to be asking him some questions. Welcome, Matt. How are you?
Hey, everybody. I'm not a celebrity in the space, but I'm glad to be, number 1 episode. I help people outsource and build virtual assistant teams. I've been doing this for the past 2 years. Company's called CS Outsourced. Nice,
dude. Nice. I know we've connected a couple of times, but we've never actually had a conversation. So I do. You mentioned before we hit record, you were like, I've seen you around, and I've seen you around as well, helping a lot of people.
I've seen you around.
And, yep. So we see you out there making moves, and we love it.
No, I appreciate it, guys. There was, back a year and a half ago, I ran into somebody really random on the internet, and he was running one of these Facebook groups, and I just introduced myself, and I jumped on a call with him, and he was giving me marketing advice. And he said, listen, if you want to really do this thing that you want to do, go into those communities that where your audience is, and literally every single day, 3 to 5 comments, maybe a posted, every here and there, but just become the expert in those groups, and you'll see that eventually people are going to start recognizing your name, sending you direct messages, and that's exactly what ended up happening. So I'm just a big believer now in just throwing out as much education as possible, even if it's telling them how to do my business. I don't even care, because if you want to do my business, then you're probably not going to be a good client anyways. So I just lay it all on the line. So I'm hoping you guys just ask me hard questions.
I love it, dude.
I'll give you everything. Yeah.
I love it. That might just be the hook for this. That was really good information right out the gate. I love that.
It was really random. It was this guy. He doesn't even have a big business or anything, but marketing genius. And it goes to show, always give everybody the time of day. You really never know who you're going to run into.
That
you
is
still
true.
Talk to him?
A little bit, every here and there, every 3-4 months I'll check in and I'll say hello.
That dude
he's got his own
20K.
show that he does.
Yeah, that dude billed Matt 20K, and Matt was like, "No, I'm never talking to you again."
No. I give back. I give back to the community, to all of you guys. Free knowledge.
I love it. Okay, so we have a handful of questions we're going to go through. And before we really get started, okay, so we know what you do, but tell us a little bit about your journey. Tell us a little bit about yourself, what you do now, how you how you can help somebody, that kind of thing, and then we'll dive into some questions.
Yeah, so it actually started off going down the entrepreneurial path really started right when I graduated from college. I studied a bit of computer science. So I got, my first job working at a startup in New York City. Started freelancing, doing a lot of like Salesforce consulting, going into business sales, marketing departments, customer service departments, accounting departments. And, I was integrating new tech, helping them with staffing, building out reporting, right? So I got to learn all the different like functions that make up a business. And I was doing that for 6 years. Now, when COVID happened, it really expedited because now, I was no longer in an office, right? I had time to explore other parts of life. So I really started pushing the freelancing. I got a junior developer to help me out, building out this team. And I moved to Puerto Rico in 2021. And I was on the beach and I was listening to a *#BiggerPockets podcast. And this woman gets on the podcast. Her name is 𝗪𝗏, and she does multifamily. And I was like really like inspired by her story. Honestly, as corny as it sounds. And I reached out to her and I introduced myself. I said, "This is what I do. Is there any way like I could help you in exchange for you getting me started in real estate?" And because I have the software experience, she took me up on it. I helped her out with a project, and she really outlined like, where should I go to invest in real estate? So she said, I think it was like Kansas City. She said, go to Kansas City or San Antonio. Pick a market. And I was like, I don't know. Just what you tell me where to go. So she was like, I would go to San Antonio. So I moved to San Antonio. And I ended up buying a duplex.
So you just picked up and moved. Like, where did you?
I was in Puerto Rico at the time. I'm a single guy, and I'm working remote. It's COVID time. Everyone's just traveling around. So, or at least I was. So I moved to San Antonio, and I ended up buying a duplex, renovating it. Goes horribly wrong. Like everything that could have went wrong went wrong. Money stolen. Not watching my contractor, going for the cheapest contractor, like you name it, I did it. I'm a software engineer. I'm not like an engineer. I realized that they're quite different.
I was an electrical engineer, so
yeah.
So yeah, Matt doesn't do projects like that anymore. I need baby steps. So, anyways, I did it. Got the property launched on Airbnb. And then I had moved to Mexico, and I right off the bat I knew that I didn't have time to manage it myself. So I started a team in Lahore, Pakistan, and we started managing my property and a couple of others in San Antonio. You're in the Facebook groups, you meet other homeowners, and you just start picking up properties that way. And we're remote model first. So, we were able to get into Austin and North Carolina, right? Like all over the place. And what ended up happening was just through networking, other PMs started reaching out saying, hey, could I, get help with a guest services agent? Now that's somebody that's doing your guest communications, vendor communications, hiring housekeepers and maintenance people, ordering inventory and supplies, disputing negative reviews, listing optimizations, helping you with the reporting on the properties, right? All of those day-to-day parts of the business. And we started growing out this team in Lahore, Pakistan for PMs, dedicated customer service reps. And then I got, I think I reached out to someone in Puerto Rico, and they're like, yeah, I'd be interested. But like, do you have bilingual? And, not in Pakistan. Definitely didn't have that. So I had, a good connect through a friend into Bolivia. And, they got us up and running with one customer service rep there. And it just turned out to be so wildly successful. And I noticed so many differences. Time zone alignment, cultural understanding of the United States, the
In
communication
Bolivia?
skills.
In
Yeah,
Bolivia? Okay.
in Bolivia, communication skills. And being able to go off script, right? Not everything needed to be so procedural in an SOP. Hospitality, there's just so many nuances in a situation. You need to use judgment when it's time to use judgment. Like I don't know how else to put it.
Yeah.
And I just started growing out the team there. And we started exploring Argentina, Honduras, El Salvador. And I started getting, feedback from our operators saying, hey, like, Matt, this is like night and day than what I'm used to in the Philippines. Just keep going down this path. It's really good. It's really expanded what I thought was possible with virtual assistants. I feel like these are people in our local office. They can speak to our customers. They can speak to our guests over the phone, right? People are more comfortable, so they're willing to delegate more. Now, we're also starting to explore South Africa, and there we're having exceptional results as well. They have a booming Airbnb market. A lot of people come in with prior, short-term rental, vacation rental, or hospitality experience, native English. So that's an awesome market as well that we're starting to bring to vacation rental operators. So that's the CSR side of the business. We also do digital marketing. So that's like email campaigns to retarget your past guests, graphic designs, social media posting, Facebook ads, and then we do bookkeeping as well. So that's reconciling your accounts, that's setting up your QuickBooks file, setting up trust accounting best practices, expense management. There's all these accounting automation tools out there like VR platform clearing. We're partners with those firms and we help people get up and running on them, remitting local lodging taxes, all that sort of stuff. So end-to-end service for STR operators.
Okay, so yeah, because I was going to ask you like in one sentence. In one sentence, what do you do?
I help operators outsource and build virtual assistant teams.
Okay, I love it. Jeremy, you got anything to that? I mean,
yeah,
I got a lot to that.
I went on a tangent there. I'm sorry, guys, but
you're good.
People got to know. They got to know. It's a lot.
Jeremy, you got anything?
No, I think the one sentence is a good summary.
Okay. All right, guys. Well, we'll see you next week. So no, I'm just kidding. All right. So that's interesting about Bolivia because I have 5 that are on the team, 5 VAs on the team, and we have 3 for they run the back end for the actual management company, and then I have guest messaging and billing and all that, and then I have one that just does social media, and then I have one that just answers the phone for the hotel. That's it. Just answers the phone. And she does bookings for the hotel, but her main job, number 1, is to answer the phone. Because we just have so many phone calls coming in for the hotel. Jeremy's about to go through this. So if he hasn't already.
Already am.
all of those are in the Philippines. They all live in the Philippines. And they're all like family, pretty much. But it's interesting because there are
literally their family.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like brother and sister and
cousins. Yes.
Wow.
Yes. So like my head VA, Louie, and then she picked up her brother and then picked up her cousin and picked up her other cousin, and her brother's wife wants to start working. So like I just started putting it out there. I was like, who else do you know? And she's like, oh my God, I have a line of them now. Like everybody wants to be a part of this.
Oh my God.
Like, oh, I love it. I love it. But we also try to create that environment too, where people want to be on our team. So it's not hard, as long as you actually give a crap and you care about your team, it's easy for people to kind of because they start talking about it, they post and people want in, all that stuff. So, but it's very interesting because I notice sometimes I'll notice like a judgment call will come in, and it's interesting that you say like it's a cultural thing. A judgment call will come in, and we've been back and forth. I'm like, why didn't we make this judgment call? And they were like, well, I'm worried about messing up. Like, as long as you can explain to me while you made that decision, I'm good. Like, as long as you have an explanation. Now, if you don't have an explanation, you're just like, well, I don't know, I just didn't care. Then we're going to have a problem. But is it different? Like you said, it's culturally different in Bolivia. Like, what would you say is a big reason?
Yeah. It's I think at the end of the day, Asia culture, at least listen, Asia's huge. I need just from my experiences. All right, let
Yeah.
me just temper expectations. I just find
all Bolivia.
yeah, all of Asia, right? Like 5 billion.
Yeah.
But realistically, like what I've found is it's more often than not, people are going to be more polite. They're going to be more cautious, right? That's just been my experience.
Mhm.
Whereas when I'm finding in South Africa and Latin America, it just seems they're more confident, they're more independent, they're willing to, and I think this is a cultural thing.
Yeah, I would agree with
I
that.
think
Yeah.
that's a Western cultural thing to be more forthright about your actions, and those roles do exceptionally well for things like maintenance and working with customers, and picking up the phone for your guests. So when someone was asking me this, they're like, when would I go to the Philippines versus Latin America? And I really said it's if a big part of it is your brand, and if somebody picks up the phone, do you want them to sound like they're in the local office, and someone that understands like the undertones of our culture, the U.S., then maybe Latin America is a better place to do that. Maybe South Africa is a better place to do that. But if your brand doesn't call for that, Philippines is fine. So that's like a big reason why I think you should consider one or the other. But there's good people in all these places. Don't get me wrong. It's just these are just rules of thumb. I interview probably 200, 250 people a week. So yeah, go through a lot of these. Yeah.
When you're interviewing, what are like the top 2 or 3 things that you're looking for?
So I'm looking for a good attitude. I'm looking for exceptional communication skills. So one of the first things I always ask people is, could you just explain yourself, who you are, how you got here today, what you're looking for in your next role, why are you switching jobs? And I want to see generally, like, can they talk? Can they, do they talk more like a call center agent, or are they more, do they have more expression in their voice? I find that our best agents have, they can express themselves better. And, there's some agents where if I ask that question, they'll speak for 10 to 30 seconds and they'll just talk about, their call center experience and work experience. Whereas I'll have some other people, they'll talk about their family, some of their hobbies, what they're interested in. And I find that those personalities actually end up working out so much better in our industry, because this is a people business. We have to be able to build rapport very quickly over the phone. You have to have a good telephone voice. I'm looking out for their accent, right? People have to be able to understand you. You have one shot at making a first impression, right? So, that's why I'm always looking for accent, good communication skills. Now, when it comes to attitude, I'll ask them questions about their past job. I want to see if they put any blame on, past managers they worked with, or if they have like any sort of like negative, I'm looking to see if they evoke a lot of negativity when they speak about their past and put blame on others. I want people that are coachable. I want people that are humble. They have flexibility, right? There's a lot of things that happen in this business right when the shift ends. I don't need somebody on our team who's going to just say, oh, my shift's done, like I'm out of here. Like I need someone who's a little bit more passionate, that's going to say, no, like I'm in this for the team. Let me stay a little longer and make sure this gets done. So, my questions are very open-ended. I'm just looking for all these little cues. But then outside of that, I'm doing a speed typing test. There are some English test writing tests that I do as well, to kind of like see how educated they are with their English, because obviously, if it's not their primary language and if they score exceptionally high, that tells me that, they probably are coachable and they are interested in like career growth and stuff like that, upskilling themselves.
I think that's interesting about the shift in part, because we had a situation. So back when we first started and we hired our first VA, we hired Louie, and it was like she only worked like during the week or during the day. Like 2:00 in the morning, this guest got locked out for whatever reason. This house in particular had no service, so you had to like download everything, then get to the house, then you could figure out the code and all that stuff. Well, they didn't get the code. They didn't download anything. It was like 45 minutes before you get to this house with no service. I mean, it's literally in the middle of nowhere. And they get there and they're like, well, we can't get in the door. We don't know what the code is. So they ended up like leaving and went back and got service, and then just started like blowing our phone up and started messaging and all this stuff. And we were asleep. It's like 2:00 in the morning. We're just out.
Yeah.
And our head VA saw the messages come through Airbnb, and she picked up and she started like helping out. She logged in, she got everything ready. She messaged them back. She got them to check in. And here's like 6:00 in the morning. We wake up and we're like, oh my God, what happened? And Louis sent us a message. It was like, hey, everything's taken care of. I saw the messages come through. We were walking through the mall or whatever it was, and I just stopped and said I had to take care of it, but you guys are good. And I was like, I will love you forever. Like, you're not going anywhere.
Makes the biggest difference, right?
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't like she didn't say like, hey, I clocked in for 30 minutes. Like, can I get that 30 minutes? She didn't say anything like that. It was just, I took care of it. And I was like, that is what I need every day.
Yeah.
Every day.
Kyle, that's why I always say, like, hire for good attitudes. Like, we can train people on the skills in this business. Things like Hospitable and Turno and Breezeway and Price Labs, whatever software you're using, within 30 to 60 days, you can get somebody up and running on these tools. But things like their character, their attitude, their mindset, forget it. Like, if you think you're going to mold somebody in that time frame, you're just, you're setting yourself up for failure there. I get a lot of requests that say, hey, I need someone that knows Breezeway and, OwnerRez. And the reality is, you go to Argentina or Bolivia and ask around if people have even heard of these softwares. They haven't. I mean, this industry is relatively new. You're just so much better off if you can find somebody that wants to be coached and has a good mindset. They make for better long-term fits in the business. And just like what you said, like, a good attitude person will come and save the day when you most need them.
Dude, that is so good.
Yeah.
That is so good. I could see, we could talk about this all day. That is so good, because PowerPath, for the community, we built out this whole back end, and we're building out in software called Go High Level. And so people are interested in the community. Then we have, they buy into the community or whatever. We move them through, a pipeline. And I was talking to, like, I was telling you, like, before we start recording, I've got somebody that's going to come on. I have a VA that's going to come on and do like the podcast and do like back end for the community. And I was looking on one of these like hiring services for Go High Level. Who's proficient in Go High Level and all that stuff. And they're like $30 an hour. And I was like, whoa, that's crazy. And I didn't realize, I mean, I'd never heard of High Level. And then I just realized, like, I'm going through it. I can learn it. I hired a guy to just build out everything at one time, just like a one-time fee. And then he was like, look, you can have a VA, like, I'll create SOPs and they can just learn this stuff. And I was like, that is so, like, attitude is so good, because we're going to be meeting with these people every week. They're going to be on the team. Like, if they have a bad attitude, that can spoil the whole bundle of apples or whatever you want to call it. it could be bad. But I was like, I'm learning the software. I've never heard of it. If I can learn it, they can learn it.
Yep.
So I love the attitude. So you would say hire for good attitude. That's the number one quality wherever you hire.
100,000,000%. And I one more note on this is, when you see somebody with these incredible credentials and strong software backgrounds, like, just ask yourself, why would they be looking for a job? Like, either more often than not, like, if they're being let go from other positions, probably a red flag. There's probably some sort of attitude issue there. Really high skilled people have a lot of job mobility. So you could bring one of these people in, but you feel like you're working for them type of relationship, because they can leave you at any time. You see that a lot with software engineers in the United States. You'll rub their toes at work just to keep them there.
Same for electrical. We went through a lot of interviews just for electrical engineers. It was the same
exactly
way.
In the trades, people have job mobility, and that it's a little bit threatening, puts your business at risk. And if you don't have like a good training program, then you're always trying to go for these superstar people that they come with all this extra baggage. So I really encourage people just to get comfortable training. Like, if you can unlock training in your business, you unlock talent for the rest, like, and security for your business. Like, that's true longevity. You're never going to be at a talent shortage, and a business is literally just a group of people. So if you can upskill people and get them to become, willing and able with no skills to, the willing and able with great skills, like, you just set your business up for longevity there.
God, that's so good. So we have questions, but I may ditch a couple of these questions because, so we teach, and tell me if I'm wrong or what would you add to this? So for everybody that's trying to hire a virtual assistant that needs to build out their team, the first or second, because by the time you hire number 3, like, you've got, like, the VAs are training VAs, like, they've got everything. You're there.
Yeah.
But if you're hiring your first one, regardless if you go through you or if they, are a friend or whatever, or somebody reaches out on Facebook, because that happens all the time. Like, if you come into the community and you're going through the path, like, if you come into Power Path and you're like, hey, I want to hire a VA, like, I need some help. I always start with, like, we need to have some SOPs on how you run your business. But the first and foremost thing is you need a video. You need to shoot a Loom video of who you are, who your company is, and how you run. Like, whatever product you have, if you have a hotel or if you have STRs or whatever, or both, you just need to give the location, North Georgia, Blue Ridge Mountains, whatever. Just give them this long, like, maybe 5 to 10 minutes of, like, who you are and what you stand for and what you guys do. And then outside of that, then it's like tech stack. Here's everything that we go through. That's what I always say is, like, number 1. Would you change that, or would you give different advice, or would you add something to that?
No, I love that. That's great. And is that, so just to be clear, that's, somebody applies for your position, and then is that the first thing you're sending them, or is that more of like,
no,
they've gotten hired?
Hire them. Yes. Once you hire them and you say, like, okay, you're going to come work with us, you're going to be added to the team, but they still come in, they have no idea. Like, they don't know what you really do. Like, you would talk about that in the interview process, but, like, first video of training, if you will.
Yeah.
Watch this video. Start here. So they understand.
Absolutely. That's brilliant. The way I should even implement that more. You're
welcome. You're welcome.
I was even thinking someone applies and, now you have, you round up 25 people that you think have good resumes and you send them that video. And I'm sure, either you get a drop off. Some people might not be interested, and, you can filter down even better from there. The way I always do it is, we'll have a intro meeting with the operator and our team, right? Every agent on our team has a supervisor and a trainer. So we're very hands-on in that respect. And the first thing we always do is we just start digging into the PMS, reviewing the properties, reviewing all the past conversations, because in those conversations, you can understand the brand tone. You can see like any issues that happen with properties. And then from there, our team starts building out SOPs and documentation inside of Notion, right? We start piecing together, you know, here's the property. Here are some of the common questions asked about the property. You know, here are the lock codes. Here are the emergency contacts, you know, like electrical company, gas company. Here are the vendors we work with on these properties. And that's typically how I get everyone up and running, is like, you got to start building out that master sheet of property and then anything related to that property. And this should come from the VA, not from the operator, because, you know, one, if the VA is building it, it kind of gives them like buy-in on everything that they're learning. And two, they're building this, you know, in the eyes of a VA, right? Or someone that's new to the business. And if an operator builds it, they already have all this experience. They're glossing over things that they think are obvious, that just like are not obvious for anybody else. So that's generally how I've always been, you know, trying to get people up and running on the business quite quickly.
Sweet. Well,
Yeah.
Jeremy's going through the onboard of a hotel. Have you hired anybody to take those phone calls, Jeremy?
I had 2 VAs for my co-hosting business, and we just added basically the hotel onto their workload. So we've got 2 right now.
How many units is the hotel?
16.
Okay. You getting a lot of phone calls?
Yeah, getting a fair amount. Yeah.
Okay. We were clocking like 70 on a Saturday at one point.
Yeah, we're not getting that many.
It was crazy. And I look at the end of days. And we have a lot of units. We're like roadside hotel. So like we get a lot of one-nighters. Yeah. But I was told like, hey, you're gonna get a lot of phone calls. I was like, yeah, okay, whatever. And I didn't understand like the impact of that during their actual workload. Like I didn't understand the actual impact of 50 to 75 phone calls on a Saturday when they're trying to message all these other guests, or somebody has a problem getting in or getting out. You know, it's just crazy. They couldn't even respond to us. I would send a question and it'd be like 15 minutes. And they're like, I'm sorry, I had 3 phone calls and 2 reservations and this. And I was like, you guys just need to tell me, like, is this too much? Because we'll hire this out. Like we'll add somebody to the team. And that's what we ended up doing. So, but it was as it gets into the busy season, like slow season is not a big of a deal. She's going to have a gravy train of a job during slow season. Mm-hmm. But it was just interesting. So like, I was just going to ask Jeremy if you were hiring somebody extra, like the process of going through that, and then kind of go back and forth with Matt of like, if we're going to hire somebody for that, what would you advise to go through? Ours was pretty simple. We just added a family member in, and she was like, I really want to work. I want to do the phone calls. I want to do this and I'll do that. I was like, done. I didn't even interview her. It was just like, if you believe in her, then let's do it. And that's what we did.
Yeah.
So it was really, really easy after that. So, okay. All right. So let's hit some of these questions. Okay. Because I don't want to run out of time here. Let's see here. Okay. Some of these we're just going to skip through. Looking back, would you have done anything different? And if so, what was it?
Ooh. This is a good, that's a good question. Would I do anything different? Man. Yeah, you look at, like, as you're saying this, I'm just thinking of all the bombs that have blown up in my face. And every part of me is like, well, yeah, obviously I would avoid it, but the reality is you just, you got to go through all these explosions that are going to happen along the way. And like now I'm pretty fearless in business, and I have, you know, I definitely have just way more confidence in myself to get through absolutely everything that life is going to throw at me. I mean, I think even I think back to even the contractor that stole money from me. Like, that's a lesson learned. I was 25 years old at the time, and there's more to the money just being lost. Like, that's like pain you really feel that does something to your psyche that you can never, that like corrects your path and your decision making down the line. One thing that I would probably just a piece of advice to the audience is really just focus in on mastery. It's very easy to want to start so many ancillary services and jump markets and do e-commerce drop shipping and maybe affiliate marketing, all this stuff. There's just so much stuff out there. And what I've come to realize is nobody wants to pay for, mediocrity. People will pay for expertise. And that has always been the case. So really just niche down into something and become so good at that specific thing. Just nobody could touch you there. Build your moat. People will find you if you do it long enough. And 1 year is not long enough, and 2 years is not long enough. I'm talking about 5 years, 10 years. Right? Those are the time scales you have to look at things. I know you can go on like Instagram and you see people in Lamborghinis and Ferraris and they're like, how to make $1 million in, a month, whatever. I mean, that's the oldest marketing scam in the book. Like, don't look at those things. It's just really hone in on mastery. And that's something that I try to just constantly remind myself is like, all right, like, just focus in on this. Keep doing your 3 to 5 Facebook comments, because even that stuff just helps me refine my knowledge and expertise in what I talk about. So if I could go back in time and I look at all the things that, all these different pathways, like I could have been in places sooner if I just locked in, a little bit sooner in my career.
That is awesome. That is awesome. How many people do you have? How many VAs do you manage?
140 at the moment.
140 VAs manage.
You're telling me,
wow.
Like, sometimes
we should have said that at the beginning.
Yeah, I can't even believe it sometimes. In 2 years, we really went from a team of, I remember it was like 5 of us to now this, and we're not stopping. Like,
dude, that's awesome.
I love what I do. I really, really do. And I'm actually, like, I found a career path that I'm obsessive with.
That's awesome, dude. That's
so
crazy.
So on the heels of that, what would you say your superpower is?
That's a really good, I would say it's just hardworking. I'm definitely not the smartest, never have been. But I am very passionate about everything I do. And if I'm going to do something, like I always just like it, growing up, I always felt like I was like the underdog, just like being doubted and whatever it was. And, I learned from an early age that like, if you want it in life, like you got to work so incredibly hard. And the solution to most problems in life are generally to work harder. And I know some people would say, oh, you work smarter, blah, blah, blah. I get that. But a lot of the times it's like, you got to just put in the work, man. And those problems never even happen to you in life if you just keep working hard. The success will come a lot of
focus.
Yeah, exactly.
Focus, yeah.
So I would say my superpower is just grit, hardworking. I'm never going to stop, and you're never going to get me to shut up. Like, I will get there eventually. I don't care if it's 1 a.m. at night, 2 a.m. Like, I'm a workhorse, and that's in my DNA.
I love it. So it's interesting you said that about focus. Sorry, I know Jeremy was about to say something, but there was something I was going to say. I have one of my best friends. He's a DJ, and he's out real close to us. And he asked me like a year and a half ago maybe 2 years when we first started like hanging out and like eating lunch together and stuff like that, like day dates, that kind of thing. He was like, he was coming out of being a teacher and he wanted to go full time on the DJ, but he was like, I want to start flipping houses like you. Like, I want to learn how to flip house. I was like, why? He's like, well, I mean, it's real estate and I want to, do this, I want to do that. I was like, I wouldn't if I were you. I think you have something really, really good here. And he had been DJing for years, but he has never really, it was always been like a side gig. And I said, I think you should really, really focus on your business as a DJ and let it propel you. And he did. He hasn't done any real estate whatsoever. And the dude is freaking killing it. He is like the preferred entertainment event guy for all the surrounding counties around us. He's in every chamber. He does all these weddings. He does weddings during the week. He does DJ trivia every day somewhere. He's got like 14, 15 locations. And I actually haven't said anything to him. I was with him the day before yesterday, and I haven't said anything to him, but I'm going to ask him today and say, like, remember that conversation we had, and I told you, don't get into real estate yet. Focus on your business. And I'm curious, like, as we talk about, like, how much he's making now, like, every month. Like, this week, what did you do? This month, what did you do? Like, all this stuff. And it's starting to blow my mind how much money he's making. And I'm like, dude, that's amazing. And he's like, yeah, it's like, he went from 0 events on Saturday evening. He had 0 events. Somebody canceled, and he was really going to, like, just enjoy his time off, to 4 in, like, 12 hours. And he's starting to leverage some of his operators, just drop off equipment over here. He's like, yeah, I made $900 today, and all I did was drop off equipment. And I had, like, 4 events, and all I did was drop off equipment. I was like, dude, you're killing it. And you didn't even do anything. You just drove. And he's like, yeah, I'm like really getting into, like, I'm really starting to get into other avenues. Like, as you focus, other doors open. And I'm like, dude, I literally teach this mindset. Like, just focus on it.
Just focus on it. I swear, it's all you focus, work hard, and so many doors will open. Like, I never thought I would open up a bookkeeping accounting firm in my life. And now we do, because the doors opened, right? But I had to start somewhere and get so incredibly good at one thing for people to trust me, right? And if people don't trust you, like, it's hard to get those opportunities. Like I said, like you said, it's mastery, it's focus, it's all these things. It'll change your life.
So Jeremy was going to say something. Jeremy, you want to finish what you were going to say, or start what you were going to say before I cut you off?
Yeah, no, it's all good. I was just going to follow up your superpower question with, if you could have one real superpower, what would it be?
Oh, like if I could fly, or
that's Jeremy's.
Invincible.
Man. I mean, this is gonna sound corny, but I need to be able to control time. That's the biggest.
Interesting.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, I don't even have I feel every day I wake up, I don't even have a second to waste. Like, that's literally how I feel. I don't even have a second to waste. And I'm seeing myself every day getting older, and I'm 29 now. And I look back at 23, and I'm like, and I look at my parents now getting older, and I'm like, holy smokes, man. Like I'm one day gonna, so what's nice about in the entrepreneurial life is you're not really bounded by a schedule, right? And I live here in Battery Park in New York City, and I walk outside, and I do a lot of yoga midday, usually around 1 or 2. And there's always this old guy, he must be like 75, 80, and it's just like,
so 75 is old.
I don't know. That's what.
Let me tell my grandfather that, and then I'll introduce you to him.
But this guy, he's always there, and he's just sitting there looking at the water, and I'm just like, man, like, that's gonna happen to all of us, and I'm gonna be that guy at 75 sitting there, and I'm probably going to regret just never, like, not taking those chances, like wasting those minutes and hours doing nothing. And you know, that's why I care so much about every single second right now. I just can't even I can't even waste a minute. There's so many things I want to do. So if I could control time, man, that would be the best superpower in the world.
That's awesome.
You'll see, we're all going to be at that point where it's a random 2:30 and you're just sitting there.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to happen. And you're going to think back to when you were 30, when you had that like energy that you should have just gone and taken it.
Dang, that's good. That's good. We just started like recontrolling our morning. So you're right. Like, and I come from a W-2. So I come from like, I've got to be doing something from like 9 to 5. Like I got to be working. I got to do this. I got to do that. And we go through it. We're all human. We always are like, we're busy, but we're not getting anything done. And so Allie and I were talking, and she's like, well, we have this like beautiful time freedom, but we don't use it. So I signed up. So she goes to Burn Boot Camp. Have you heard of that? Jeremy, you heard of that?
No, I haven't.
I mean, I heard
about
all
like sorts of boot camps
and
these days.
and all that, but yeah.
Yeah. So Burn Boot Camp is a franchise. It's all over the nation. She started going, and there's like a ton of our friends that go across the nation. We had no idea. I've never heard of this. So she starts going. She's going for like, I don't know, 2 months. And I'm like, you know, what are you doing? You know, like all this stuff. Because I was lifting at a gym. And long story short, I signed up. Okay, I started going yesterday. Actually, it pushed me so hard. I pushed myself so hard.
And you got burned?
I threw up after the workout and the pushes. It was bad. It was really bad. So we go today, and she made a comment to me. She's like, you know, you're just working during the day, and you're not like taking care of your own self. So we started going at 8 o'clock, 8 o'clock in the morning. So we actually take our son with us. We drop our daughter off together, take our son with us. He plays in the camp. We left there. We took him to school, and we came home, and I got ready for this podcast. And I said, okay, from like now on, I won't take any calls before like 9:30, 10 o'clock. It's just us the entire week. And back to your point of like, if you don't appreciate that time now, you're not going to you're going to regret it later. So that's 100%. Something that we've tried to move it, you know, and I think it's very, very important what you said. Like, you got to learn to start controlling your time, you know, you time schedule, time blocking, all this stuff. Like today, my day is completely packed, but it's not a normal thing anymore. Like it's completely packed up until I walk out the door to go to a softball practice or softball. Like it's completely packed.
I know those days, man. You're going to be cooked later.
Yeah, I'm like, we did arm day, and then I got to go pitch to these little girls, and I'm going to be like all over the place. So my mother-in-law called and said, don't let it be an excuse. So, okay. All right. So let's see here. You already answered some of these. So like, and I'll let Jamie run, you know, with the other questions, but we have like, what's the biggest advice that you would have for someone that's wanting to start their journey? And I think you said it, like the one thing, like get really, really good. Stay with one thing.
Yep.
Same question, mastery. So that same answer I would put on the second question. What's the biggest advice you'd have for someone that is struggling to achieve their goals? So what would you apply the same thing, or would you say it's something different? What is the biggest advice you have for struggling to achieve the goals?
You know, there's man, this could be a nuanced answer, just depending on their situation, but just high level, I think all of us, when we're after whatever the goal is, like it is full of potholes and death traps and, you know, a lot of pain to get there. So if you're struggling to get after your goal, like, good on you. That means you're probably, you know, on the right path. This is like completely normal. So you just keep on going at it and just adjust the time frames in your head. Don't think of, you know, I would say anything that's 6 months to a year, it's too short. You know, to your goals, if they're big enough that, you know, your time frames need to be 3 years, 5 years out, 6 years out. It's more realistic. So it's no, I guess my point is, just, continue to, work really hard and just stay focused on this one thing that you want to go after. But the pain is normal. All of us go through it. We all go through the doubt cycles in our head. I would just say really adjust the time frames in your head on when what is actually realistic to achieve these goals. I just see too many people after a year, they're like, I'm not there yet with being an entrepreneur. Like, dude, are you kidding me? A year? You got to be kidding me. I've been doing this for 6 years. I'm still as green as they come. I mean, this has to become a part of your lifestyle. You got, like, you really have to, adjust, the frameworks in your head. This is a lifelong thing. So
I love it.
I kind of sort of answered that in a couple of different ways, but hopefully it's thought provoking for whoever.
Oh, I think it's good.
To it.
I think it's good. Jeremy, you want to run through the last bit of the questions?
So I guess kind of on the tail of that, do you have a philosophy to or a motto or a saying that you kind of use to guide your life?
Oh man, I said this on another podcast, and I've been saying this for when I was in Puerto Rico, I wrote this down. It was give away your secrets and you'll have everything in life. And meaning just give like, don't hold anything back. Give people just every inch of free knowledge that you have and advice, and don't be so concerned about, oh, if I give them this, then there's, they might not use my service, or just don't hold anything back. It'll serve you in the long run. People will come to know, like, and trust you, and it will snowball effect into just so many more opportunities that you would have never expected in your life. So, I'm a big believer in just give people everything. They have a question, really try to answer that for them. Even if, there's no, compensation or whatever, like, that trust you're building with somebody is invaluable. And the more people you can build that with, it'll come back to you over the years. And, I can even look back at my own self, and I can see that I will give people everything, and I see it coming back to me every single day. So give people everything. Yeah, yep. That's my motto.
That's a big one in our household as well, actually.
I love it. Maybe you stole it from me. I don't know.
I have to beat Jeremy out.
You might have been at the beach with me in Puerto Rico. Was that you?
You never know. I was the naked guy walking around on the beach. You know.
Oh man, that's funny.
You said you're 29. Let's take it back half. When you were 14, what'd you want to be?
So my family has a small business selling commercial kitchen equipment, and the family business is the talk, right? It was the talk at the dinner table. It was the talk everywhere, the family business. So growing up in that environment, I always knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur, just like my dad. And I saw, just by working with him, some of the pains that a small business goes through. And I always said, like, man, I want to be able to help entrepreneurs, make a business, systems, technology, all this sort of stuff. So, that's kind of what I do today. And I've always really followed that. And that's why, like, when I went to college, I made an effort to study computer science. And that's why I, made the decision to take a more consulting and technology career path, after college. And it's always just been about, I want to help people make a business. And that's what I do today for, STR operators and home service operators, is I help you make a business, get your back office straight, your customer service straight, your bookkeeping, your marketing, right? Like, I know how to functionally do these departments, and I've always stayed true to that.
Awesome. That's cool.
Yeah.
All right. Wrap it up here. A couple fun ones. What's one purchase under $100 that you've made in the last year that's most influenced you?
Ooh, man, these are good questions. I feel like he's got one of these, like, apps, these card apps. Let me think about this. That's a good one. Under $100 that has fundamentally changed. I mean, this one is not going to be business focused at all.
Doesn't have to be.
Yeah. So this one, I bought a yoga mat, and I got started doing yoga about a year ago more seriously. And just about every single day, I go to the boardwalk here in Battery Park, and I'll do yoga outside for 20 to 30 minutes. And I can't tell you enough how much this has changed my life. Like, after I do a session of that, I'm more alert, I have more energy, my body feels better. I'm a really big athlete, so I've even just like the benefits of not having as much back pain and stuff like that. But that $100 yoga mat has taken me out of my apartment and has given me more time to just like focus on my health and stay outside. And I find that after a session like that, I feel more alive. I don't even know how to say it, but just getting the yoga mat, I started this whole new process in my life every single day for 30 minutes. And it really changed even like how I run my business. Like, I come into meetings just a nicer person, more friendly.
Yeah.
And while I'm doing it, I have all these different thoughts going through my mind, and I'm able to just have better ideas with everything I do. So yeah, that I think it was like $50 yoga mat. I now have a whole new section in my life that I do every day.
Yeah, I have two questions. Well, I thought it was 100 because you said $100. I'll say, first of all, a yoga mat is a great answer because it just has exploded. But second of all, I was like, where the heck did you get $100 yoga mat? You spent $100 on a yoga mat. I was like, where did you get that at?
No. I think this is like $50-ish on Amazon.
Yeah. I've never seen $100 yoga mat. I was just gonna say, like, is it gold? Is it? Where did you get it?
Yeah.
Did you steal it and it cost you $100 on a ticket? Like, you pushed over this 75-year-old that's
it's
to sit on the bench
crazy.
now.
You buy one little thing and now you have this like whole other side of your life that you do. It could be like buying running shoes, and now you're going out focusing on your health. Mm-hmm. And that stuff changes your life.
Or like a Stanley Cup or something. Or it's way more than 100. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a big believer in just being in top physical shape. Like, if you don't have your mind right and your body right, you're gonna see it in your outlook in the world and the decisions you make, how you speak to your team. If you feel like crap, you're gonna treat people like crap. Kind of like how it works. You're more on edge. I go through this all the time. When I get real burnt out, now I just tell the team, like, guys, I've been working for 7 or 8 hours. Like, I can't Like I'm going to be very snappy on any call. Like it's just not worth it with me right now. I'm upfront about it. Whereas like in the past, I would take these calls and I'd be a complete jerk, being very like quick on people. So yeah, like for me, being in top physical, shape is like, I just couldn't do this without that.
Yeah. I think once you get there, like once you start exercising like that, people actually see the benefits of it versus just saying like, yeah, whatever, like I understand, I get it. And until you experience it, then it's like, oh, okay, that's awesome,
Yeah, yeah. And it's a mental game too, right? It makes you mentally, or it makes you grittier, because a lot of times I don't want to be doing this workout at all.
Yeah.
But for me, I'm like exercising my mind. Like I'm about to go through this pain, and then I don't think there's ever been a time I regretted going through the workout. Sick, not sick. And I always keep that in the back of my mind. It's like, did you regret it when you were feeling that way and you had COVID? Like, no, you still felt better. So, all right, go to the gym. It's kind of how it works in my mind.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, very great. Great advice there. I mean, I think most people tend to forget about taking care of themselves. And if you can't take care of yourself, how can you be a good leader? So last question here. What is one thing that you have splurged on in the last year that wasn't your $50 yoga mat?
Yeah. I'd probably say I went to Sevilla, Spain, and I just went on a 5-week vacation. And I was working out there, and I was staying in a very nice hotel, and eating seafood and being on the beach, and it was true. I look back at that as some of the best moments in my life. I was a tourist, trying tons of new food. I had like a Colombian girlfriend. I was staying at
had. Oh, okay.
And
it was only a 5-week thing.
A little bit, yeah. And
what happens in Spain stays in Spain.
Yeah,
I mean, evidently.
Kyle's asking too many questions. And
you said they're good questions. I got to keep them coming.
And I'm on the Mediterranean, and I'm in the south of Spain, and I loved it. And I took a lot more time to just enjoy life. And throughout that, I actually discovered that I really like writing. And I was able, because you're up like 5 hours ahead of East Coast time, you have this beautiful quiet period for 5 hours. Nobody's up. And that's where I got in the habit of writing. If you go on my Facebook, you could see a lot of articles that I'm posting. And I just do these deep dives into topics because I need to know them for my own business. So if I could teach them to people, I'm going to be able to get it down in my business, because if it comes from the leader, slowly starts going out to the rest of the parts of the organization. So not only was this great for my, personal, branding and company, but it's just like it's a new part of my life that I never thought I would ever enjoy. Like if you knew me at 14, 15 years old and you told me like, oh, you're going to be a writer, like you're going to love writing when you get older, I would have laughed in your face. I couldn't write. So it just like really goes to show that like add that little bit of randomness into your life, or take that time off, and you'll discover something, that could really change your perspective on life. And, writing is now a part of my life. I could never see myself stopping. And it was because of that trip I took. So that splurge was worth everything. I mean, that splurge is millions of dollars in future revenue, because and now I discovered this thing that I love to do.
Awesome.
Oh, I love it.
Awesome.
This is so
Well,
far. This is my favorite
yeah.
podcast.
Yeah, this is
Aren't I the one?
Yeah. So
All right. I hope this is the last one. It kind of ends here, right?
yeah, one and done. Favorite.
oh, this is it. This is it.
Awesome.
I hope I'm dropping
I
some
wanna be
good gems
respectful
for
of your
y'all.
time. Yeah, this is great. No, I appreciate it. It's been a pleasure for sure, and want to respect your time. And how can folks reach out to you, give you a follow?
Yeah, so I'm very active on Facebook. Just type in _Matthew_metros. You'll be able to find me. There's an AI headshot of me. I think
I've seen it.
I gotta let everybody know that is not a real picture of me. It is an AI photo.
You're catfishing.
Yeah, I'm catfishing the community. But yeah, reach out to me on Facebook, Matthew_metros, or you can check me out on Instagram, @Metros. Go on our website, csoutsource.com. Just submit a form, or you could, direct message me on any one of these social media platforms. I'm very active. So, but yeah, even if you don't need services and you just need advice on, operations, bookkeeping, customer service, whatever it is, just ask me. I'm like here to help. You don't need to use me as a service. I have a lot of advice, and I can introduce you to other people in the community as well.
I love it. I love it.
Cool.
All right, Jeremy. What is the dad joke of the day?
The dad joke of the day. Which state uses the most laundry detergent?
Oh, what state uses the most laundry detergent? Okay, hold on. Arkansas.
Washington.
Oh, I should have known that. I should have known that.
That's actually really good. You might have.
Matt lost it.
That's really good, actually. Oh my god, that's funny.
I was singing the whole state alphabet in my mind, and then I just stopped in the A's, and I was like Arkansas because it saws a lot. I don't know. Oh
man! I was looking at Kyle's face, and he was like, so much brain power went into that, and then I just hear Washington. I'm like, oh, that's really good.